Before we start this episode of For Fun Friday, we have a massive Patreon shoutout to give out. The Chaos Bringer Tom, also known as the God Tom, also known as Tom the Card Ripper, has decided to join the Patreon at the Hero tier. The amount of support you've given me is absolutely astonishing, and I could not thank you enough. My words alone cannot describe the help you're giving this poor man. If you watching too would like to support me, there are links down in the description below to my Patreon, or you could join the YouTube memberships to get more active benefits on this channel. Now, on to today's episode. Greetings and welcome back to For Fun Friday, where I, your somewhat gracious host, shows his inability to spell deck names correctly and then manages to fail playing them miserably. This week, we're taking a look at a deck that I've actually been interested to play for a very long time, but never really had the time to sit down and attempt. We're playing Orcust today, which is essentially scrap Orcust. For a lot of people, they know Orcust from back in the day when it used to be meta-relevant, when Harp Horror was literally destroying formats left and right. Nowadays, it is much less represented, but still has a very dedicated and hardcore fan base among the Orcust people, I suppose, who for some reason seem to all have combined into my Discord, and, well, here's Orcust. Here's the deal. I haven't actually played a lot of Orcust, so I am going to screw up combos and ideologies a lot. The deck we're having a look at today is a modified version from Crush Cards, who did this deck tech back in, I don't know, June of this year. I've taken some liberties and changed things around to make the deck more appropriate for how I like to play the video game. Now, let's have a quick look at what this deck attempts to do. With the release of Scrap Raptor a couple of months ago, Scraps have gotten a massive power boost. Not only does Scrap Raptor trigger every scrap effect you could possibly want to use, it also searches your Scrap Recycler, which is the way you play this deck. Normal summoning Scrap Raptor allows you to destroy Scrap Raptor to search Recycler and get a normal summon for Recycler. Recycler then sends Cryston Rosenix, which banishes itself to create a token and allows you to go into Scrap Raptor. Scrap Wyvern. Scrap Wyvern then normal summons back the Scrap Recycler and then immediately destroys the Recycler, triggering the effect of Scrap Wyvern to special summon Scrap Golem from your deck. Then you're forced to destroy a card, so hopefully you have a card left over, and then Scrap Golem allows you to summon back the Scrap Recycler in order to use its effect again to send World Wand, allowing you to go into Lib, and the shenanigans goes from there. The deck is, at least nowadays, extremely consistent, but very, very weak to hand traps, which is why we are going complete YOLO and we're not playing Called by the Grave, because if we're gonna lose anyway. Let's have a look at the deck quickly, shall we? We got 2 World Legacy World Wand and 2 Orcust Nightmare being the main playmakers of the Orcust package, as a lot of Orcust players will know. We're playing 4 Dangers, 1 Nessie, 1 Mothman, 1 Jackalope, and 1 Tsuchinoko. The simple reason we're playing 4 of these is because they all help us pitch our high levels into the graveyard in case we need them. Also, in case we draw into any of our 2 bricks, being Golem and Rosenix, these guys can help us send them to the graveyard so we can reuse them. It's not great, but it'll have to do. We're then playing, of course, 3 Girsu. This is probably the weirdest addition I've chosen to make to this deck because it already has a lot of starters, but Girsu just feels wrong not to play. Yes, we are unable to search Girsu through a lot of means in this deck unless we decide to use something like, I don't know, Orcust bullshit. But I just like having Girsu available as an alternative starter because it is less weak to hand traps compared to Scrap Raptor. Of course, we're then playing 3 Scrap Raptor and 3 Scrap Recycler as they are our main cards in the deck, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Symbol Skeletons, which act as the Orcust combo shenanigans, and 1 Brass Bombard simply to unbrick our hand in situations when we need it. We're then playing 2 Fossil Dig and 3 Scrapyard, all of which search us Scrap Raptor, which in turn search us Recycler. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 copies of Scrap Recycler in our deck. 1 Instant Fusion for a card you'll see on the extra deck in just a moment. 2 Orchestrated Return in order to get rid of some high-level Orcust cards in our hand to draw 2. 1 World Legacy Succession as part of our combo using Lib to be able to special summon back the Scrap Golem. 1 Orchestrated Babel, which is the most broken card Orcusts have, turning all Orcust effects into quick effects. 3 Infinite Impermanence, because it is a very good card. And 2 Orcust Crescendo, which acts as an Omni Negate and Banish if we control an Orcust Link monster. For our extra deck, El Shaddai Winda is our instant fusion target of choice, simply because if we summon Dingirsu, we can protect Winda from the destruction effect of instant fusion, which is really neat. We're then playing 1 Millennium Ice Restrict in case we brick and draw the instant fusion and just simply need another body on board. 2 Dingirsu, as it is the main playmaker in any Orcust deck, and we will be using this a lot and abusing its both send to graveyard effect and recycle ability. 1 Appaloosa, because it's good. 1 Boros Dragon to end games. 1 Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax for alternative ways to end the game. 1 Nightmare Unicorn that we'll most likely use together with Masquerena. 1 Barricade Borg Blocker in case our Babel needs to be returned or otherwise need to interact when we can't. There are multiple ways that Babel could be negated with its own effect to return from the graveyard, so having Barricade Board Blocker is not terrible. We then also have Galatea, the Orcust girl herself, wielding a massive scythe, and she is one of the playmakers of the Orcust package. We then have the IP Masquerena, our Lib, the Worldblade Keymaster, Predaplant Verte Anaconda, which is only going to be using instant fusion, no Dragoon in this deck, folks, and then lastly, Scrap Wyvern. This is the Scrap Engine's best card. We hope we can abuse it to really create some shenanigans. So, what is the game plan here? The game plan is to control the board significantly. We want to be able to run our opponents dry of resources basically, and then from there slowly beat in and win the game with a board state that keeps coming back every turn. Let's give it a couple of games and see exactly how bad this can go. Alright, we've got our first duel today up against Gypsy, and our starting hand is honestly not that good. We're playing up against White Rose Cloister. Could this be Rose Girl? Or Rose Dragons, rather. Black Rose and White Rose. Not White Rose, the other one. Whatever. It is Roses! Oh, that's awesome. I haven't seen this deck, like, in a long time. Wow, they're really playing Black Rose. Okay, cool. So, our starting hand is only good because we have access to Girsu, and Girsu is not honestly that great here because we are holding both of our symbol skeletons. We have no current way of getting rid of either of them, which is going to prove problematic. It's not going to be problematic, though, if all they decide to do is normal summon a Witch of the Black Rose and then set a monster. It is. So, necessarily, we shouldn't be too bad off here. Let's normal summon our Girsu, activate the Girsu, and now, of course, we have the issue here, but we'll go for the World Wand. The reason we do this is we can activate the World Wand, which brings us the World Wand from hand that we opened, unfortunately. Now that we control 2 monsters, I have screwed up royally because we now can't abuse the effect here, but I think that's actually fine. Yeah, this is okay. We're gonna do this. We're gonna bring out Lib. We're gonna activate Lib. We're gonna set the succession. Now we can special summon something back from our graveyard, which we are going to do immediately to bring back our Girsu. We have to do this in a weird way because we didn't open any of the scrap support, but we'll do this. Now we have access to grab ourselves the Galatea, which we're going to do. We're gonna activate the Lib. We're gonna spin back the Cloister for free. And on that, honestly, we can't do much else simply because we don't have a banished monster we can use, but we can at the very least sit on our Galatea, punch over the Witch of the Black Rose, and just pass turn on that. Opening 2 symbol skeletons is really bad. Basal Roast Shoot. Special summon a Roast Dragon from your hand. Okay, we got an Imperm. It should be fine. Should be oakley dokley. We could have sent Nightmare here to do a larger combo, but honestly, I don't think it would have been worth it. We are going to get Black Rose Dragoned here, though. I think. It looks like we're going to be, at least. No? Yes? Possibly? Maybe? Yep, Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, actually. Target will special summon most Pokemon, return that target to the hand. Do I want you to do that? I don't. You have to beat my Galatea if you want to deal with it. Alright, White Rose Dragon comes out. We are going to negate the Black Moonlight Dragon this turn, simply because I don't want a full board. What can we do off of that, though? Because we really don't have a lot now. Girsu's dead. He doesn't choose to attack into Galatea, which is very interesting. Why wouldn't you do that? There's no reason for you not to. Drawing into Danger Nessie is actually really good. We're going to use Nessie, pitch a Symbol Skeleton, get a Nessie on board, draw a card. It's going to trigger Moonlight Dragon, which is fine. Oh, we can do it again. Thanks. We're going to Scrapyard here. We're going to grab the Scrap Raptor, and we're off to scrap business. Normal summoning the Scrap Raptor. We're going to activate Scrap Raptor, destroying itself, which activates its effect in order to get me the Scrap Recycler. This is once per turn, right? Yes. Cool. We're going to normal summon Scrap Recycler with the extra normal summon we got in order to send ourselves... At this point, I'm not sure. I think we need to send a Nightmare? I think we send a Nightmare here. It's really weird, because Rosenix doesn't really do a lot now. No, we'll send the... this is a hard one. We'll send the Rosenix. I have an idea. We'll go for Rosenix. It's going to summon a token, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make the Scrap Wyvern in this zone. Scrap Wyvern's effect is going to bring back the Scrap Recycler, and is then immediately going to destroy the Recycler to activate the Wyvern's effect. We don't want to activate anything else. To summon the Scrap Golem, and now destroy a card on field, which is going to be Moonlight Dragon. Now that it's on the field, we're going to activate Golem to bring back the Scrap Recycler. And in doing so, we can activate Scrap Recycler again in order to send our Nightmare. Now that we have Nightmare on board, we're essentially ready to start doing some shenanigans. But the real question is, how do I want to do it? I think we're going to Nightmare here. We're just going to target anything. It doesn't really matter. We're going to send the Brass Bombard, because we already have a Skelly in the graveyard, so using it is irrelevant. We're going to go for the Nightmare. We are going to activate the Galatea, sending the World Legacy World 1 back to the deck in order to set ourselves an orchestrated return. Now with everything on board here, I think we are just going to link off into a Dingirsu. Activate the Dingirsu. There's a reason I'm not using Skelly, by the way. Don't have at me in the comments. A Mirror Force. Very interesting. On top of that, I think we're just gonna start the Revolution, I guess. We're going to send these two away, make a new Galatea, just so we have Galatea live at all times. We are going to... What do we want to do? Honestly, we could just make this at this point. It's kind of bad, though, because we... Actually, no, we'll do that. We'll go for the Borrelsword Dragon here. We're going to activate our Symbol Skeleton, summoning back the Girsu from the graveyard. We can now activate Girsu. Girsu's effect is going to send a... I guess we'll send the second Nightmare, just to kind of have it there. We'll proceed to battle. We'll attack using Borrelsword Dragon. We'll activate Borrelsword Dragon's effect to gain some attack, punching over the White Rose. We'll then go in for 1800 using Girsu. We'll go in for 1800 using Galatea. We'll activate the effect to set Girsu to defense position, and that is an Orcust victory over a deck I didn't even thought existed anymore. Well, here we go for another game. We're playing up against Blackwing, which is also an incredibly interesting deck to see. What's with everyone playing really cool decks today? Going for the Chris the Crack of Dawn. They are flooding the board immediately like Blackwings do. This is another deck I really want to have a look at someday, because Blackwings are they're just cool. Okay, here is the Auster of the South Winds, meaning they do have access to their 10 if they'd like it. Is it full Armor Master? It is full Armor Master. Once per turn. Okay, that's only during their turn, so we have to get rid of this, like, immediately. It is unaffected by everything, which is super unfortunate, so ending on it is not terrible for them, to be honest. We are gonna... Okay, so here we have actually opened a lot of our bricks. We have a Rosenix in hand, which really complicates things, but we'll go for the Scrapyard. We'll grab a Raptor. We'll activate Raptor. Killing Raptor. Allowing us still to search for our Scrap Recycler. Now, we have no way of getting things into the graveyard here, which is really bad, but we'll go for the Recycler, activate the Recycler. And at this point, I think we have to send the Nightmare and lock us into Dark very early, because we don't have Rosenix or anything to pitch it from our hand. We could potentially send Brass Bombard here, and banish Brass Bombard to special summon something from our hand. But it has to be an Orcust monster, meaning we can only summon Nightmare off of it, which isn't exactly great. And we don't necessarily need to do that. And this still locks us into Dark, so it doesn't matter. We'll just send the, Nightmare. This gets a wedge counter. We'll activate the Nightmare. We'll target this. It doesn't matter. Send the World Wand. Activating World Wand to special summon our other World Wand, because we need to do that. Then we go for the World Legacy World Wand to bring this out on the board. Now the question is, can we go plus here and actually do anything on it? Because it's unaffected by all other cards, meaning we need to be able to special summon stuff. We're going to do this. Galatea is able to set something back. We can activate this to grab ourselves an Orchestrated Return, probably. We're going to go Orchestrated Return, targeting our Nightmare in hand, drawing 2, not drawing into anything we needed, which is very unfortunate. We're going to go for the Dingirsu regardless. It's not going to be able to do anything because it's unaffected, so it's whatever. And then we can't really do anything. We can simply set 2 and pass our turn, realistically. Because there's not any way we can get over this, and he's just going to take our card here because we kind of bricked. So I think the best thing we can do is get rid of him and just make something dumb like a Barricade Borg blocker. So we're going to do that. Yes, we will activate this just so we can pitch the Rosenix and keep it on the board. And that's all we're going to do, and we're just going to see if he can do anything until we can come back the next turn. We could have gone into this earlier just to pitch a card like Rosenix, but that would have stopped us from really doing anything else. Gale the Whirlwind is fine. We have 1,000 attack. We literally could not care less. Yep. I don't know why you did that when you planned on stealing it anyway. Kind of weird. Okay, he is just going to go into battle, which I think is fine. We're going to take a massive amount of damage here, but there's not much we can do about it. We do have Girsu for the follow-up turn now, and a lot of things in our graveyard, so I think we're in the clear. You're going to take a lot of damage. We're taking less damage because for some reason he decided to hit the Barricade Borg blocker, which is odd. But that's fine. We also have the Thunder Sleeves, which is a little bit funny, but regardless. He does end the phase on that. Is he going to choose to destroy everything? He is. Okay, so he breaks the Borg blocker. Interesting. We draw another Girsu for turn, which isn't terrible. Now we do have the Scrap Recycler play, though, but at this point, I don't think we need it. We're just going to go for the Girsu. We're going to activate Girsu, which is going to send a Symbol Skelly this time, because we do have everything else in our graveyard. We don't care about the wedge counter. We'll activate this. We'll make ourselves a token, give a token to our opponent. We are going to make Lib using these two, because we do have a World Wand already in our graveyard. We're going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to hit the World Legacy Succession. We don't have anything we can really loop or do shenanigans with, unfortunately, but I don't think that'll matter. We'll go for the Rosenix. That summons ourselves a token. We'll then go ahead and we'll use our Orcust Nightmare, targeting anything, to go ahead and send a Brass Bombard, because Bombard is another effect that we can choose to use. We're going to go ahead and we're going to World Wand. We're going to get this. This is not a quick effect, so we're fine. With these four, yeah, they need effect monsters, right? So now we have to use our Brass Bombard in order to special summon the Mech Knight Orcust Man. Now we can make a Boral Sword. We can now activate Lib, which removes the World Legacy token that we don't want. We can now activate Symbol Skelly in order to get ourselves the Orcust Knight. We could just bring out Dingirsu. Let's bring back Dingu. Dingu comes back. We activate Dingu to attach material. And we're going to attach the Symbol Skeleton that we used. Because then we don't necessarily care here. We are just going to proceed to battle. We're going to hit into the Blackwing Full Armor Master. We'll activate the effect to steal some attack. We'll absolutely destroy this thing. Then we will punch over the Gale. We'll activate the Borsal Dragon to change our Dingirsu to defense to punch again. Probably could have ended the game there, but I do want to play it safe because I am not crazy. We'll go for the... Oh, we can't use that. Shit. That's kind of bad, actually, because we need effect monsters. We are going to use these two instead and just make a Masquerena, I guess. And on that, I guess we'll just pass, because we're locked into Dark Machine. Okay, we'll just pass on that. We do have a Crescendo we can't use. We have an Imperm. Should be fine. Setting 2. That is fine by me. Danger Nessie. I think that is good game on our side there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to Nightmare again. Just going to target this. We're going to send the World Wand. We're going to go ahead and we're going to send the... activate the World Wand. Get our Nightmare on board. I'm not going to activate any Shenanigans effect here. We're just going to make a Link 3 using these two. Going to be Unicorn. We're going to activate the Unicorn effect. Pitching our Nessie. Targeting that. We do get a Nessie effect, meaning we can add a danger card, so we'll just add Tsukinoko. We'll normal summon the Scrap Recycler. We'll activate Scrap Recycler because we can. We'll send the Symbol Skeleton. We're going to activate the Tsuchinoko. Tsuchinoko is going to trigger itself. There we go. And at this point, we can basically just flex and do this. Because at this point, I don't think it matters. We'll activate this, pay 2,000 because flex. Go for the, this has to be a monster effect. Yeah, we'll go for the Winda. We'll go to battle. We'll attack using Boral Sword. It turns out to be an Oster. We'll end the game using our Unicorn. And we take another victory with the Orcusts against Seamo's best deck, I guess. Let's go for the last game. Here we go then, for the last duel of today. We're going up against Yugioh, or something like that. Oh, we do get to go first. How wonderful. Ooh, our opening hand has a Scrap Raptor. Wonderful. We'll go for the Scrap Raptor. Don't need to search it this time. We will hit the Scrap Raptor, activate Scrap Raptor effect in order to grab ourselves a Scrap Recycler. We're going to normal summon the Scrap Recycler here. Activating Scrap Recycler's effect in order to send Rosenix to the graveyard. We'll activate Rosenix's effect in order to make a token. Then we'll use both of these to make a Scrap Raptor. Now, with Scrap Raptor on the board, we do need to set a card. So activate Scrap Raptor. We go for the Scrap Recycler. And immediately destroy the Recycler in order to trigger the Scrap Wyvern to bring out Scrap Golem. Now we have to destroy our face down card, which is an impermanence, which is totally okay. Going for the Scrap Golem effect, bringing out the Scrap Recycler again, activating Recycler to send World Wand. Now that World Wand is in our graveyard, we can go ahead and make Lib the Blade Keymaster, activating Lib's effect in order to set Succession. We're immediately going to activate said Succession to bring back Scrap Golem into the one zone it can be summoned to. Scrap Golem's effect is yet again going to bring back the Scrap Recycler, and can you see where this is going? Here is the Scrap Recycler. We'll use Scrap Recycler again, and this time I think we're just gonna send the... what do we want to send here? We have World Wand already. Do we want to send Skelly? No, we'll send Nightmare. Now with that on the board, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make an Appaloosa for 2. We're not gonna activate Lib's effect, because that would be freaking silly. We're gonna go ahead and activate the Nightmare. We're going to target anything, doesn't matter. And then we'll send the skeleton off of our Nightmare. At this point, we're going to go ahead and activate World Wand. This is going to allow us to summon the Nightmare. And this is going to allow us to make the Galatea. Galatea is now going to activate its effect, shuffling back the World Wand, allowing us to set an Orcust spell or trap. Normally, we would be setting Babel here, but we already have Babel, so let's just set Crescendo instead. Since we have Babel, we can now just go ahead and activate it, because it exists. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use Symbol Skeleton in order to bring back our Nightmare. With Nightmare now on the board, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a Verte Anaconda with our 2 remaining cards. We're going to go ahead and we're going to summon our Dingirsu using Galatea, activating its effect to recycle the Symbol Skelly. And at this point, we're going to activate Verte Anaconda to copy a Polymerization or Quick Fusion, which is going to be Instant Fusion, summoning our El Shaddoll Winda. At this point, we're going to end turn, and during the end phase, of course, we're going to get checked for Instant Fusion, which we are going to prevent the destruction of by sending Symbol Skeleton. Now we have 2 negates. 3 negates, technically, if we're going to count the Orcust Nightmare here, which we are going to do immediately. So Nightmare, targeting our Appaloosa. We're then sending the World Legacy World Wand, and now we have 3 negates, Destruction Prevention, and a special summon lock on our opponent, together with also having our Symbol Skeleton ready in the graveyard. It is quite the board, honestly. We still have 2 cards in hand as well. So here comes Tuning, adding a Synchron Tuner from deck to hand, which is going to be Junk Synchron. Cool. I'm assuming he's actually playing the Junk Speeder deck, which he's now going to be not able to do, considering he's under Winda, which is funny. Here comes the Junk Synchron. Alright then, you have nothing in your graveyard. What's happening here? What's going on? Yep, that's what I thought. The End Orcust board is surprisingly really good, and the combo, while susceptible to some things, it's really nice. And then Babel is an incredibly strong card. Orcust is just good. Come on. Alright, let's wrap this thing up. Right, so what do we think about Orcust? Honestly, Scrap Orcust in particular is really, really fun. Not only is it incredibly consistent, being able to get Scrap Recycler out literally almost every game. I think we whiffed it once, and that's because we opened 2 Gearsus. And then we opened Rosenix one game. And you know, these things happen, if not for our opponent having multiple negates. But I think just the control level shown today, even if we didn't really play against any meta contenders and decks, it really goes to show that Orcust still has potential to this day, even if it is very reliant on the Scrap engine. To be honest, there is also one more version of Orcust I want to play at some point, which is Rocket Orcust, which may become a deck at some other point, who knows. But as for this video, if you enjoyed, do remember to click the like and subscribe button, because my channel is dying and needs your assistance. If you'd like to support me monetarily, there's always YouTube memberships, Patreon, and the donate feature on stream if you happen to tune into those, which currently there's a lot of them. Do check the YouTube channel stream section if you're interested. And as always, sellout out, I guess? I don't even know anymore. Remember to stay safe out there.